I was hanging out with a baby a few days ago. Well, it wasn't just us, you know? It wasn't like a one on one at work. I wasn't discussing his performance this quarter. There was a group I was hanging out with, and someone had brought a baby. And it was their baby. You know, they didn't just bring a random baby, they brought their baby. It was a BYOB event, okay? And this baby reminded me of something. It reminded me that, I've been outspoken about the idea of baby talk. I've never really liked baby talk. You know that thing people do? They do it with pets and they do it with babies where they're like, oh, who's a good little guy? Who's a good little guy, huh? Oh, peekaboo, peekaboo. I've never liked that. When people do that to pets and when people do that to little human babies, I've never liked it. And I found out another thing I don't like that people do to babies. It's like a derivative of baby talk. It's this, like, they make up random situations for the baby. They start applying inner monologues that this baby is having. And I'm like, no, that's not. I'll give you an example. I was hanging out with this group and someone had a baby. And one person said, oh, look at him. He's thinking, oh, who are all these people, huh? Oh, look at him. He's thinking, oh man, what's a guy got to do to get some food around here? And I hated it. I hated this idea of another, like an adult person giving this baby inner thoughts because this baby, it's like a pulse away from being one of those dolls you get in high school. You know that class? I didn't take it, but you know that class in high school where you get to take home an egg and then you graduate to a real plastic baby doll with like a sensor in it and it cries and stuff. A human baby is like a pulse away from being one of those dolls because this baby, I'm looking at it in its eyes and there's nothing there. It's just a void. It has no conscience, you know? It's just a thing that you need to keep alive. It doesn't have ideas. It's not really solving anything. It's a liability is what it is. That's what's cool. You know, people always are shitting on child labor, but I'm like, you know what? They should pull their weight. As I've grown older, I sympathize with people that are pro child labor. I still am aggressively against child labor. I know, taking a controversial stance here, but I think child labor is bad. I know, but I see their logic. Yeah, you earn your keep. Okay, think this roof is just above your head. I get it. As I get older, it makes sense. But this baby, no, we shouldn't. It shouldn't be in charge of doing anything because there's nothing in between the ears, you know. And so when an adult looks at a baby and is like, "Oh, look at him," he's probably thinking, "Oh, wow, look how colorful this room is." No, man, I know he has eyes, but they don't do it. I get they're receiving information, but then it just evaporates. You know, you heard the term "in one ear, out the other." It just goes in their eyes and then I don't even know. It just, their brain is a void. A baby, their brain is like a black hole for a while. It just takes a lot of stuff in and then it just annihilates it. I don't even know what it does with it. Like, that's what's so scary about a black hole. Things go into a black hole and then they disappear. And I know the finality of disappearing maybe doesn't like mean anything to you. But if you think about it more and more, it's like death, right? Finality with death and a black hole, just saying it in passing is not a big deal. But when you sit down and you're alone and you start thinking about death and black holes, you're like, holy shit. Yeah, that's terrifying. There's just a void of nothing. And babies are little voids of nothing up there in between the ears and behind the ocular fucking receivers. There's nothing back there. And so when an adult is like, oh, look at him, huh? He's probably like, oh, I look cute in these suspenders. Man, you think he knows what suspenders are? Also, bold stylistic choice to put a baby in suspenders, okay? That's what you got to do, though. You got to dress up babies in ridiculous shit because they don't have a conscience. Like I said, just a black hole back there. So when they grow up and you show them the home videos that you recorded, they can be like, wow, I looked ridiculous, right? And there's no consequence because they can't feel embarrassed. Babies can't feel embarrassed by anything. Babies shit themselves. And then they sit in it until they smell stinky. Babies can't, we are like, ooh, here comes the airplane. And, we put food in their mouth and they spit it out. It just dribbles down their chin. You think they get embarrassed from wearing suspenders? No. But right when they gain a consciousness, right when they enter the social world, They go to school. People start having opinions, unfortunately. They all start dressing the same, you know? So you gotta dress your baby up fucking ridiculous so that when they grow up, they can look back on it and be like, oh, that was cute. That's cool. I had a personality back then when I wasn't in charge of having one because I didn't even know I was alive. I wasn't online yet. But thanks, parents, for making me interesting. That's what you gotta do. You gotta really like, I don't know if I'm using this term correctly, but you gotta like sandbag your kid. I don't know what that term means, but you gotta like really pack in them being interesting before they have control of it. Because right when you pass over creative control to your kid and you're like, okay, now you be interesting on your own, you're lost. You're lost. They don't have a lot of source material to go off of. So it's just whatever's in there. And like I said, there's nothing in there yet. They just start with a blank slate. They don't know what to base style off of, right? They're not roaming the streets of a city being like, oh, that looks cool. That looks cool. No, they just learned how to walk the other day. Their joints are still like growing and like they don't ache, which is insane, you know? But they don't have anything to go off of. And so you got to make them interesting. And that's the thing, you know, it all trickles downwards. How interesting a parent is how interesting the kid is. Sometimes, you know, there's anomalies, outliers in the data, but, you know, parents have a strong influence on how their kids end up. I know, shocking revelation, right? The way you raise a kid influences how they're raised. I'm, you know, kind of breaking ground on this whole fucking podcasting thing. I kind of have it figured out. But that's one thing I learned that I don't like. It's in the same vein. I said it's derivative. It's like an offset or an offshoot of baby talk. It's baby inner dialogue or inner monologue declaring. I don't like it. I don't like these adults being like, oh, look at him. He's probably thinking, wow, it's cold today. No, he doesn't know what temperature is. Huh? You think he knows that things freeze at 32 degrees Fahrenheit? No, he doesn't. He doesn't even know numbers. He hasn't gone to school yet. He doesn't even know the fucking alphabet. Isn't that crazy? I know there's only 26 letters to know, but he doesn't even know one of them. Isn't it? Oh my God. So you expect him to know all that? No, he doesn't have any opinion on anything. What are you talking about? Excuse me while I wipe my nose. But this is a thing adults do, apparently. I didn't know this. I haven't really hung out with babies that often. Babies and adults. You know, I've never held a baby. I don't know if that's weird or not, but apparently a lot of people have held babies. I've never been in a situation to hold a baby. Obviously, because I've never done it. I think you can just do it pretty much through family, right? Because no random person is going to be like, hey, you go to a grocery store. Hey, I need to pick up some kiwis. Can you hold this baby real quick? Oh, yeah, sure. I didn't know I was signing up for so much fun when I went down the kiwi aisle, but sure, yeah, I'll hold your infant. No, I've never held a baby. Isn't that crazy? So I'm 24. That's an experience I've never had. And it's not one I'm like eager to have either. I don't wake up every day being like, man, I hope today is the day I hold a baby. It's not like there's nothing. Like maybe when I do it, it'll change my life. It'll be like, oh, wow, holy shit, I've never done this before. But it's not a thing I'm missing. It's like skydiving, you know? No, because one day I'll hold a baby. I will never skydive. Fuck that. I'm not going to skydive. Are you serious? Why would I want? That's not a thing I want to do. Same with a baby. It's not like I want to hold a baby, but it's, you know, I could walk down a kiwi aisle one day and someone could be like, can you hold this real quick? Oh, my hands are full. Can you just deal with this for a second? Oh, sure, yeah. And then you know it'd be funny if you were in a kiwi aisle and someone's like, oh, can you hold my baby real quick? And the kid was like too old to be held. They pass you like a 4-year-old. And you're like, what do you know? Shouldn't you be doing this on? You should be standing like me. What the fuck? No. You don't get this privilege still. No, fuck you. You know the alphabet, right? Actually, I don't know when you learn the alphabet. I've heard, here's the rule, right? You add 5 to whatever grade they're in, and that's their age. So like when you're in 12th grade, you add 5 and they're 17. So in 12th grade, you're 17. So that's the thing. In first grade, I guess someone is 6, okay? So and then in kindergarten, they're 5. So then yeah, in preschool, that's when I learned the alphabet. I was 4, right? So yeah, this fucking kid should know the alphabet. I'm not going to hold him, okay? His legs work, I think. I don't know when babies learn how to like walk and shit either. Well, they know how to shit immediately and you can smell it. Oh, yeah, why is it? We always have this thing where it's like, oh, smooth as a baby's butt. Yeah, but don't they create like the stinkiest shits? Why are we saying it's so? Maybe that's holy shit. You ever think about that? Maybe that's why they're so shitty. Like the smell is so shitty because their butts are so smooth, so it all comes out. You get more like cracked and jagged asses as you grow older, right? So not all this shit might get caught. Okay, this is disgusting. Yeah, babies, they have that frictionless ass, so just it all just comes out. I'm sorry if you're eating, but you shouldn't be if you're listening to me, okay? That's your fault. Yeah, I'm going to victim blame. That's not on me, that's on you. But yeah, that's one thing I learned. I learned that I don't like when people attach inner monologues to babies because they're not that smart. I don't even think most like adults have inner monologues. Did you know this? Apparently, I didn't know this. I thought it was just a thing like everyone had thoughts and people talk to themselves like internally. I talk to myself out loud, which I think I might have to grow out of when I start living with other people. But right now I talk out loud to myself. But I learned online, I saw this whole like thread and someone was talking about how like, oh, they don't have thoughts. Essentially, they didn't say that, but they said essentially that idea where they don't talk to themselves internally. And I was like, how the fuck is that possible? So what do? Like before you talk, what's going on up there? Is it like a baby where it's like just a black hole? Oh my goodness. That's terrifying, right? But yeah, babies, man. I don't like this how we create a character out of them. I'm like, don't make them. I know I said we have to make babies that interesting because they can't do it themselves, but don't give them like a personality. Okay, just like get them in the right clothes, and then that is interesting. Okay, don't give them ideas. Oh, look at that little baby. He hates capitalism. What? How do you know that? What are you talking about? You can be like, oh, look at him. He hates fish because, yeah, he fucking swelled up when he ate that piece of tuna earlier. But don't be like, oh, look at him. He wants to dismantle the patriarchy or some shit like that. I don't know. Don't put that on him yet. He could be a misogynist. You don't know. Don't give him credit yet. That baby could suck. Okay, right now he's just sucking on teats, but he could suck in a moral sense soon too. Okay, don't give him so much credit. He's not. Don't make him holier than thou. Okay. That baby, he could be an asshole. He certainly uses his because PU, what's that smell, man? It's the fucking baby with its smooth little fucking ass. But it's bullshit. It's bullshit, and I say we stop it. If you see a baby, just don't give them credit. They don't deserve it. Because nothing's going on up there, okay? You know, I think about things all day. And I don't get credit for that. Why does baby get credit for just existing, huh? Doesn't that suck? Why don't we? No, but we do. We get credit for existing as we grow older, but it only happens once a year. Once a year on a thing called your birthday, people celebrate like, hey, you made it. You still exist. And that's nice. Yeah, I guess we still get credit. But a baby, they get so much credit when they're young for no reason, for just like fucking existing. Everywhere you take a baby, like this place I was at with a baby, everyone, there were like 10 of us in that room, everyone's attention turned to the baby. And I was like, why are we doing this? He doesn't even register the attention. Why don't you give someone like me, an attention whore, the attention? Because I need it. I am seeking validation and attention. This baby doesn't need any of that. What is it? It's futile. Like there's no reason we should be doing that. It's like investing. It's like burning your money. It's investing in nothing because you're going to see no returns. Like you feel like it's like charity. Paying attention to a baby, you're throwing money in, but nothing really is happening, but you feel morally good. That's what it is. A charity is like paying attention to a baby, right? Because when you pay attention to a baby, when you pay money to a charity, you donate, they call it, you feel good, right? Because you're like, I'm doing a good thing. But the baby doesn't remember, and the charity's not using that money for good, right? They can't be. Unless that charity's run by Mr. Beast. But yeah, I don't like it. I don't like this credit that babies get. I won't stand for it. And neither will the baby, because guess what? They can't stand yet. Those little fucking idiots. They don't have motor skills yet. They're just crawling all over the place. The advanced ones. Not all babies can crawl yet. You crawl before you walk, before you run, jog before you run. I don't fucking know what the thing is. I'm not smart. I'm like a baby. It's just a black hole up there. But yeah, stop giving babies credit. They don't deserve it. You know who does deserve credit? Me, because I've been baking recently. That's right. I've been really finding myself in the kitchen. I make like I told you, sunny side up eggs. By the way, I just want to give myself credit. The week I brought up myself making sunny side up eggs more, guess what? Later that week, trending on Twitter, egg shortage in America. So, trendsetter. I know. I'm not one to, give myself credit because I'm a very humble, attractive, smart guy, but I'm, causation does not, correlation does not equal causation, but yes, it does in my case because I'm a fucking trendsetter. I mentioned eggs, and guess what? Everyone's now going out and buying them. What? Like 200 people watched that episode? So, boom. If all those people bought, I don't know, 50 dozen eggs, boom, that's a shortage probably in a small town. So, Point Gauruv. That's right. But yeah, I've been still making eggs, but I've also been baking. I've also been like making stuff. I'm not ready to show the real like cooking I've been doing. You'll see it eventually, but I've been baking and I'm proud of my baking. I made, well, this doesn't count because it's a no bake recipe, but I made cosmic brownies, homemade cosmic brownies, like protein cosmic brownies. So like a bunch of scoops of protein powder in there. And I think they turned out good. They're good. I like them. I'm still eating them actually. Then I made chocolate chip cookies. Those are very good. Big fan. Then I made cookie baked oatmeal. I didn't like this. This was not, wasn't my favorite recipe. I mean, it's good, but it's very filling. I ate one of these over like 4 days just for breakfast. I had that and like the sunny side up egg. It was a lot. This isn't baking, but I made an Oreo parfait. I used the wrong Greek yogurt. That's on me, coach. But I bought like a fucking quart of it, so I gotta eat all of it now. I bought vanilla yogurt. I should have just gotten normal yogurt, but I was like, I wanted to have some taste, but that's what the chocolate is for. I'm an idiot. And then the thing I'm really proud of, I think, is these chocolate crinkle cookies. That's right. Look at these fucking things. Isn't that crazy? I made that. Shit. It took about 3 hours. I brought it home to my mom. Well, I sent her a picture. She was like, oh, you got to share some of that with me. I brought 3 home. She tried them. She's like, oh, these are really good. I was like, well, don't sound so surprised. Where's that coming from? She was like, yeah, no, I just never expected something like this out of you. I was like, okay, we're still edging on backhanded here. I don't know what's going on. And then I went to dinner with Hoyer. I went home this past weekend, and I went to dinner with Hoyer, and I showed him a picture. I was like, I've been baking recently. I showed him a picture. He was like, well, are they good cookies? I was like, you tell me. Pulled out a Tupperware I had in my pocket with 2 of them, gave him, and he was like, these are really good. I was like, right? And he did that thing. It's one of the best things in the world, where someone's like trying to suppress a smile because they don't want to give you credit. He had one of those, where he's like, damn. I did not expect you could make something edible, but you did, and it's good. It was that kind of smile. But yeah, I made I think 18 cookies, so I donated 5. That's the charity I'm willing to invest in. Okay, cookie giving. But that's the thing, I've been big into baking. There's some cooking I'm gonna start doing. But dude, I've been baking every night. It's a nice thing. It's a hobby. It's a hobby so much now of mine that I was talking with someone this past weekend, and they asked me. I haven't seen this person in 12, 15 years, and I was talking to them again. And, that's basically a new person at that point when you haven't talked in over a decade. So they were like, so what do you like to do for fun? I was like, I like to play basketball. They're like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. You watch the games and stuff. I was like, no, not really. Just the highlights of the ones I'm interested in. And they're like, okay, yeah, I like soccer. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I was like, and is it cool if you call it soccer? And they were like, well, I'm not one of the assholes that will call you on it, but you can call it whatever. I was like, okay, cool. And we talked about soccer. And then I got so confident in my baking ability, these chocolate crinkle cookies, that I was like, yeah, and I also bake. Yeah, that's how confident I am. It's now on my social resume. Now when people are like, "Oh, what's the thing you do?" I don't just say I watch my shows and I go to sleep. I say I bake and I play basketball. That's right. I'm interesting now. Fuck you, baby. I have a personality now. Get on my level, asshole. But yeah, I've been baking recently and I enjoy it. It's a really nice thing. I always knew I'd be big into baking. I just didn't know when it was going to happen. It's just like I always knew I was going to be hot. I just didn't know when it was going to happen, but we made it. No, I would say I'm handsome, not hot. Okay, I'm not just a piece of meat. Don't look at me like that, fucking weirdo. But speaking of Hoyer, there was a thing I don't know if he knows this, but I've been keeping tabs on him. Okay, speaking of Hoyer, also going tangent off the tangent, but the main course is still Andrew Hoyer. Go watch the new episode of All Ears. Episode 2 is now up. Appreciate it if you go give it a listen. Go give it a like. And while you're at it, also like this episode. This is crazy, but when I ask you guys to like these videos, you like them. Like there's usually 3 times the amount of likes. And then when I don't mention it, divide by 3. So like this, please. It's great for my self-esteem and my skin. Look how clear it is. You can't see it. It's too far away. I love the internet. But yeah, speaking of Hoyer, I didn't realize this. I've been keeping tabs on this gentleman. There's certain things that I say that he doesn't know what they are, which I find interesting because he and I were best friends, best friends of 15 years. But then I'm reminded, we're so similar in so many ways. But then I'm constantly reminded that, like, oh yeah, there's a lot of ways we're very different, And so over the past few months, there's been 3 things that I've mentioned to him that he doesn't know. And it's so interesting to me. So let me share them with you. There were 3 things over the past few months that I've told him about. And he's like, I don't know what that is. The first is Doja Cat. He just didn't know who Doja Cat was, which is the most insane thing to me. That's she's like, I listen to so much of her music. I watch so many just things. It's weird to me that and it's not even like he's like, I'm not that familiar. He was like, who is, I said Doja Cat. And he was like, who is that? What? He didn't even know she existed. He didn't even know that. Like, there's an actor and you're like, oh yeah, I know the name, but I haven't seen. He didn't even know this was a person that existed. And that's wild to me. The other week, I explained soft launching to him. He didn't know what that was. I had to explain the idea of soft launching. When someone like posts a picture and it's like, ooh, he didn't know what this concept was. I had to explain it to him. There was this one girl I went to high school with, and I know she started dating someone in the past year. And just on her Instagram, she just posted a picture of him and she said, fuck it, hard launch. I was like, God damn, Amanda, chill. You bold bitch, you. Ooh. But Hoyer didn't know what that was. He didn't know what soft launching was. I thought that was crazy because I'm like, no, this is just really? You don't, huh? And it's interesting. I explained it to him and still I don't think he was a little foggy on the subject. I think I have to find an example to show him. And then lastly, when I went to dinner with him just a few days ago, like I said, he didn't know what the ick was. I had to explain what the ick was. And I was like, God damn, man, how the fuck are, people, his aunt, Hoyer's aunt. I remember I made his birthday video, this video right here, a few years ago, 2.5 years ago at this point. And I remember he told me his aunt watched this video and I did a little talking portion in it. And I remember he told me that she told him, oh, he's funny. And he's very similar to you. He's like the brown you. And I was like, okay, that's but it's interesting. Yeah. We're like very similar. And then there's certain things that I bring up and I'm like, oh my God, but we are different, which is nice. You shouldn't, be exact carbon copies of other people, but it's always interesting to me where there's overlap and where there's not. In our Venn diagram, sure, the middle is fat. But, sometimes I see the things just in my circle. I'm like, wow, huh. Who would have thought? Not me, but look at us, huh? So, yeah, isn't that interesting? Have you ever had that with friends where you're like, oh my God, we're so similar. We're on the same wavelength and everything. And then you bring up a thing, and they're like, "I got nothing. I'm like a baby. I'm just radio silence up here. It's a fucking pit of desolation because I have no idea what you're talking about." Like I said, Doja Cat, that fucking went in his ears, and then just his brain was like, "I don't know what the fuck to do with this." Did Garv buy a cat and name it Doja? What is he talking about? You know? But yeah. But it's interesting, right? You get to see another side of your friend. You're like, oh, that's a thing, you know? Like I remember one time I found out a friend was like really into country music. I was like, I don't know what to do with this information. Huh? Yeah, no, I've known you for a while, and you like country. I thought they put it on ironically. No, but I've listened to some country. It's actually not that bad. It's not that bad. It's really catchy. I get why stupid people like it. No, I didn't say that. I didn't. No, I didn't. Excuse me. Sorry, but I get that it appeals to stupid people, right? Okay, I'm not saying stupid people like it, but I'm saying it. You are stupid. I would look into country music. I think it's your kind of thing because they explain exactly what's happening. There's a guy, what right? Eric Church. I went to a concert with him, with Hoyer actually. I went to an Eric Church concert, my first concert back in what September or whenever that was. No, July. I don't fucking know. August. And Eric Church has a song, and I think the name of it is like "Drink in My Hand," and it's just a bunch of like country shit. And then the chorus or whatever, what's the main line? Like "Party in the USA." The part that goes, "It's a party in the USA." It's like you know what I'm saying? But yeah, the whole song "Drink in My Hand" by Eric Church is like, "Don't I got a drink in my hand." And then at the concert, everyone fucking holds their drink and they're like, "Woo! Yeah, Eric. Woo woo." And I'm like, God, this appeals to it's like when you're young, you have that song, clean up, everybody clean up. Country music is like that for adults. It explains exactly what you need to do. It's like, yeah, I have a drink in my hand. Yeah, he's speaking to me. Hell yeah. Oh, look at my guy right next to me. He has a drink in his hand, kids hear clean up, and they instinctually go towards the wipes. They start wiping down surfaces. You hear this twang of a country guitar, and you start, busting out the flannel, holding up drinks a little high, tipping your hats to people. It's just the adult version of kid tunes, country music. I'm just saying it doesn't take a large intellectual leap to get to enjoy country music. That's why I think I like it. I'm outing myself. I kind of like country music. Not all country music, but there's some songs by Eric Church. I've spent some time listening to it. The man knows what he's doing. I always feel like I'm eating Tums incorrectly. Do you ever have this? I ate some Tums the other day, and I was like, God, these things always get stuck to my teeth. Teeth, the parts underneath, where the teeth join each other. There's little caves or crevices. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The gaps in your teeth. Sometimes the Tum, you crush them and the powder gets stuck in there, right? And I always feel like, am I not getting the most out of my Tums because it's getting stuck in places? And I always feel like they recommend 2 Tums for adults, and I'm like, but should I eat a third one to make up for the lost amount? And then I start thinking about that with other things, like recipes. Like I'm really like, I'm very exact with my recipes, as you can see from my chocolate crinkle cookies, which I made flawlessly. But I really like, pack in the measuring spoons and I flatten that shit out with my finger. I break out the credit card, and swipe that away, and boom, it's money in more than one way. It's actually credit, which is different than money. If you're an adult, you get it. Okay, so to all my baby listeners, you probably don't get what I just said. Well, you don't get anything I'm saying because nothing goes in there. Oh, look at the baby. He's saying, oh, ooh, I'm so confused on what Garv's saying. No, you don't even know my name. Okay? Fuck you. God, I have a weird personal vendetta against babies, don't I? All these YouTubers are like boxing people. I would box the baby. Not even a YouTuber baby. You know, one of those like family channels that exploit their kids. No, I'll just take any baby. I'll fight a baby. I don't care. I don't discriminate when it comes to boxing babies. But then the ring, I want to make it aesthetically correct. The ring, we should make it like one giant cradle. The cradle match instead of the cage match or the cage fight, the cradle fight. I don't know what my problem with babies are. You know, it's because they deserve too much credit. Well, no, the thing, they don't deserve that much credit, but they get it. They get it free of charge. Those bastards. But yeah, I always feel like I'm eating Tums incorrectly. And I see other people, you know, that I don't think people are that exact with their recipes. They just go in with a spoon and it's like a uneven mound in there and then they pour it out. I'm like, how did you know that was a quarter cup? What the fuck? But then at the end, they kind of add a little more to make up for it. I'm like, is that what I'm supposed to do with Tums? To make up for the lost powder, am I supposed to get another Tum? Maybe crack half one? Because I want to get like the most out of my Tum experience. And if I only do two and then some gets lost, you know? But if it's lost up there, it's eventually going to find its way down the gullet, you know? So is it a big deal? I don't know. Why aren't scientists talking about this shit? Okay, why are they trying to solve they're trying to solve bullshit issues. I'm trying to figure out what's the most effective way to eat and consume Tums. Can we get on that? I mean, why did Stephen Hawking leave this universe without at least figuring that one out? You know? Fucking selfish guy. But speaking of, you know, babies not being just going in on them. Speaking of babies, you know, not being deserving of literally anything that comes their way, I had a revelation this week. I always struggle. Well, recently, I would say for the past 4 or 5 years, I've struggled with my birthday. The thing that I've struggled with on my birthday is that so many people show you love on your birthday. And I've always, not always, but for like I said, the past 4 or 5 years, I've felt that it's undeserved. There's a sadness to a birthday because, you know, you could work on stuff throughout the year, like a video or like the cookie or whatever, and you could make it produce this product and people will be happy, but no one will be as happy as they are for you as on your birthday. And on your birthday, it's not that you did anything special, but they're extremely happy for you. And there's something so depressing to me about the fact that no matter what you accomplish, it will never be as celebrated as your birthday is. The day that you didn't even do anything to deserve celebration. But then, you know, you can make the argument about like, well, you've lived another year. You made it through 365 years. Isn't that such a grand feat in itself? And I get it, but sure. But I don't know. A birthday, the celebration just feels so undeserved. It's like, I didn't do anything. And it's like, damn it, can't you just channel this support and excitement you feel for me to just some other thing I do where I did put a lot of hard work into it? And then I found out the past few days, I found a parallel to this feeling. I found that family love is like love on your birthday. It doesn't feel earned. I think that's what I have trouble with. You know, when like your family members love you, I don't know. It doesn't feel as impactful because you're like, well, yeah, but aren't you supposed to love me? You know? But then there's people with families that don't love them. So even that, you know, I guess that's a privilege to have your family love you because there are families out there that don't love you. But love from a family doesn't feel, I don't know, it's weird to me. It's like a birthday. It's like, yeah, well, that happens. Why should I feel special about that? That's why when someone outside of your family loves you, it feels, I don't know about you, but, you know, it feels like so much more meaningful in a way, which is fucked. But like, I don't know, because there's no reason for someone outside of your family to love you. So when they do, you're like, oh, wow, I really like earned it, right? Because there's no reason anyone has to love you outside of your family. But when they do, it's like, oh shit, okay. So you're choosing to give that to me? Wow, that's really special. With a family, it's like, yeah, that's what's so tough about a family. It's like if they give you love, it's like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. But then if they don't, it hurts. Because you're like, man, you were the one person that was supposed to give me love. And that's what's tough about a birthday and family. It's like when you're celebrated on your birthday and when your family loves you, you're like, yeah, but that's what's supposed to happen, right? But then if people forget your birthday or your family doesn't love you, you're like, fuck, nothing hurts more. So yeah, I realize that same feeling on a birthday is kind of like family love, where it's like, God, it just feels undeserved, you know? But then that shouldn't make you appreciate it any less. And I think it's nice to see that there's a parallel though, because I think I'm getting better at receiving family love. But yeah, that I think it'll help me with my conquest to understand how to be happy on my birthday. You know, I used to be. You know what? I used to be happy on my birthday back when I had birthday parties. Maybe I should just start having birthday parties again. You know, buy the whole cake, go to the bowling alley, do the whole thing again, play laser tag. Maybe I gotta do that again. Bring the childlike joy back to it. That must be it, right? But that's what, when I was younger, that's what we'd do. We'd go to strikes, we'd bowl, we'd come back, have Little Caesars pizza, eat cake, and then play fucking video games all night. Then the next morning, without having gone to sleep, we'd eat Eggo waffles, and then everyone's parents would come and pick them up, and it'd be a good day. I would get presents. It'd be amazing. Maybe that's what I gotta do as an adult too. That's what's fucked about being an adult though. People do all the grown-up celebrations like, oh, let's go to a bar and do the thing and fucking whatever. But maybe I should just play video games, eat cake and pizza, right? Because that's what I like doing. But I don't know, as an adult, you're like, oh, but I gotta look at what all my other adults are doing, right? I gotta measure up to them. But no, you should do what makes you happy on your birthday. And maybe I've forgotten this idea. So we'll see what I do this year. I know we'll wrap up this video a little early just because I don't want to introduce another topic. Thank you for hanging with me last week on my nihilistic rant. I don't know what was up with me. I was in a weird spot without any reason to be. But I think this one went. I think this was okay, right? So make sure you like this video. It would mean a lot to me. Make sure you go watch, that new episode of All Ears with Hoyer. And thanks for listening. And I will talk to you next week. Okay? Bye.